Good evening. Welcome to all of you that are here, present, and everybody online joining us by Zoom tonight. Do we have any visitors here? Sarah?
Yeah.
That's Owen's mom. Any visitors online joining us via Zoom? I didn't catch that. Here's Ken a minute.
Just see if it was recorded on the bottom.
Okay. All right, good. Well, let's do introductions. We'll go through and introduce ourselves, our first name and call sign, and then Ken will take a look on Zoom and he will read out those joining us via Zoom. If you're on Zoom, if you go to the upper left-hand corner and right-click, you can add your call sign behind your first name, and that will make it easier for Ken to, report who's joining us tonight. But start with Rick. Rick, KA4OHM.
Will, KR4CE, and I'm the secretary.
Tom, KD4CMK.
Ken, WB0L, I'm the treasurer.
Ron, KQ4LDA. Owen, KQ4YLA.
And KQ4OTH.
Bruce, W4BRU.
That's my father, he doesn't have a call sign yet.
Okay.
Alex, KM4QGQ, recently rejoined.
Steve, Whiskey 4 Sierra Bravo.
Gene, KD4GD.
Robert, W4VNF. Harper, no call sign.
Okay.
WA1.
Right now, I've got a Zoom meeting on, and I'm watching a Zoom meeting. Yep. Right now, I've got a Zoom meeting on. Yep.
John, AC4WT.
Dave, W4IIA. Dan, W4ERF. Dennis, K4DAF. Your first name and call sign? Yep.
John, WB4NHX.
Welcome, John. And those online?
Online, we have Patrick. Patrick, I don't see a call sign for you. I think it's the same Patrick I know that is.
K4PKB.
Thank you, Patrick. We have Tom, KG4BIZ, Dan, N4DOB, David, KO4BEM, John, W4ZAK, Michael, KM4A, and Scott, KO4L. You will. Okay, you will. Yeah, thank you, somebody, whoever.
I talk to him regularly, so.
Okay.
Hello? Hello? Someone online needs to mute themselves.
Yeah, there it is.
There we go. I think we've got everything out there. Hey, with the newsletter, Ken sent out the meeting minutes from our last meeting. And I wanted to know if there were any updates or any changes to the meeting minutes. A motion to approve the minutes.
Move to approve them.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting minutes approved. Can you go to the treasurer's report? Sure.
Let me do that real quick.
Let somebody in.
Let somebody in.
Let somebody at the door.
Okay, treasurer's report. We started with $18,754.96. We had 4 dues, so that was $88 that came in. We repaid, somebody basically joined or paid twice for the 25 dues. And I asked them how they wanted me to handle them paying twice. And they said, send the money back. So we paid the money back, $22. We made the donation of $1,000 to the church. And Bruce paid for our DNS name for the production website, which was $17.16. So we reimbursed him. So we ended up with $17,803.80. So the donation to the church is what made us go less, but we're doing pretty good. We have two new members. Interesting enough, it's Thomas Hall, who's an extra. He is AI4TH, and Thomas Anderson, who is a technician at KQ4SLA. Motion to accept the two.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor? Okay. That's all I have. Oh, one other thing, if you have not, checked yourself in at the back in the book, please do so. Same thing for guests. If there's a little area there, that we'd just like to know who you were, and, thank you for coming. Appreciate it all.
That's the treasurer's report. Next, it will be the school update.
Okay?
So we've got, people begin to sign up. I think we've got at least one sign up to everything but one of the seminars. So all three classes, and I think we got 4 or 5 seminars, all but one. Ken discovered an old brochure that we had.
All right, I got it.
That I had forgotten we had. So we kind of got that to Dan. And Dan produced this brochure. And I'm gonna hand you a bunch, and your job is to hand them around. I took some to the gym, I took some to the church. We got lots of them, so just use them like crazy. Dan turned out a really classy piece here, so I think you'll like it. So I'll hand that out, but we're moving along with the getting class signups. It's beginning to happen, so it takes us a while. And we've informed all the other clubs. And Dan's gotten a hold of some of the people who run the CERT organizations, and that sort of thing. So we're out there to try and get some. All right, any questions?
Thank you, Bruce. Sure. Instead of having one committee for publicity, we thought, get everybody involved. Take 4 or 5 brochures, leave them on the bulletin board or break through the table. Just check, get the information out there and about the schools and see if we can get fill all the classes up. Bruce, sir, did you have anything you want to mention about the mentoring course?
Oh, sure.
So tonight the owls are not finding each other, so we need to come back to the front and talk to the main owl. Here, the head owl right here. We have to talk to him.
Something right now. So
So, we said we were gonna try to do some more mentoring. Since I'm teaching this semester, I decided to put some energy into it. So I sent a note out to the people who recently, become techs and upgraded to general to see what they wanted. And I got a lady who Tom knows named Emily Boots, who apparently bonded with 4 other women on this whole business of taking the tech. And they said, sure, we'll take you up on it. So we kind of organized, they decided to name themselves the Ham Radio Chicks. So, so I now have some chicks that I'm mentoring. The youngest chick is, well, none of them are really young chicks, but any case, So we had a session where we got, and it's very interesting. I'm trying to figure out what is it we can do to get them started. And the first thing is, how do we get on the air? So we had a simplex session in the classroom. And as we got through with it, they said, oh, is that all there is? So then we went around, what kind of radio can I get? We looked at the various things, what kind of antennas can you get? So it kind of got a list of that sort of thing. Then we had a second session, and that time we got on a repeater. And that was interesting, and I don't know what it sounded like on the repeater, but they were in there with the radio giggling. So I don't know if that came across the repeater or not. But anyway, kind of. So anyway, that's really gotten cranked up, and we're beginning to learn what they need and beginning to figure out how to do it. Now, I'm gonna pick on some of you because some of them live in distributed areas, and we can do okay having a couple of 3 sections where it's all of them together, but they're gonna get to the point with, how do I get an antenna in my house someplace? That sort of thing. So I'm gonna be looking to some of you who live near where they are to step in and be the next part of the mentoring. But that's where we are and having fun with it. So, I mean, you know, it's been years since I've had a bunch of chicks to be with, so it's where I am.
Tell them about the, net on Tuesday night.
Oh, yeah, we have a, Tom set up with the MRA repeater for a Tuesday night net at 7 o'clock. So a new hands net.
New hands net.
So you're welcome to get on and kind of hear it and perhaps participate if you want. So anyway, that's. Thank you, Bruce. Yeah.
The new hams net, it isn't just for the new hams. Some of us other older hams need to try to check into that. And it'd be interesting for them to hear us and typical operating procedures and good operating procedures. So it's, don't leave it all just to them. We should try to make an effort to get into to that's the 145-430 repeater Tuesday night at 7 p.m.
Right, and some of these, they're trying to use, HTs now. So, and they move around and you have to work with them and they know that things aren't perfect, that people aren't perfect. So it's nice for them to hear a variety of voices.
Good. So let's see, the school D-Star repeater update. Anything new with the repeater? I think the net last week was a little bit light on Wednesday, but probably because the power was out and some people couldn't check in. But I think that's been running pretty stable. The remote station, that's as far as I know, everything.
We had a glitch.
Oh, had a glitch.
Yeah, don't know what it was. Fred Vincent is one of the people who uses it a fair bit.
Okay.
And he reported the glitch, and so we basically rebooted it and it's fine.
Okay.
I think the computer probably got hit by something.
My biggest guess was it took a power hit, and when it came back and it came up, we basically talked to the radio over a COM port for all the old people who knows what a COM port is. It's actually a virtual COM port, but we talked to it over that. And apparently when it came back up, it said, hey, that COM port doesn't exist. And so it went to an alternate COM port. And so the radio was not in communication with the thing. And so it took a reboot and me starting to go, oh my God, I got to figure out how to get it to a particular COM port. And luckily it said, oh, I found that one now. So, so it came back up as it would supposedly. We do take it down actually, every week. For those of you who use it, it's here physically in the church. And when they have church services, we disable it as of 8 a.m. and we reestablish it. It's either 1 or 1:30 in the afternoon. And that always works. But that's the only unavailability that should exist if you use it. And as a member of the club, you can use it. Your ID and your classification of license is in it. You cannot tune it to any frequency you're not allowed to. What it means, and literally it means that you cannot tune it to any frequency you're not allowed to transmit on. So if you're in a band and you go to tune to another band and you're actually tuning it, and you run into a frequency you're not allowed, it basically locks it, and you have to sort of back up into where you are allowed to be, and then jump to the band and get to where you are allowed to transmit. So, that usually, for new people, stumbles them a little bit on how to use the radio. Anyway.
But that's also good practice for new hands, is you don't have to worry about the band plan. You can just enjoy.
It's controlled for you.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
Yeah, that's available to every one of you that's a member, if you can use that. Makes a nice backup. for you.
And yeah, it's a backup if you're under an HOA restrictions and you, well, let's say you have an aerial, but it doesn't reach as far as you might think or wanted to. Try our radio to see if you make a contact. We had one of the first people who helped us set it up, if I remember right. He did all states on the radio.
Little department, you could have the antenna.
Yeah, so we have the 10, so he used it.
Worked all states.
Worked all states, so it has a decent reach. It's not the best antenna, but it's one that works.
And it's just a 97-foot long wire with a dog leg.
In fit. The RARC net status, we have a total of 6 nets, 6 meters, 80 meters, 2 meters, 10 meters, the D-Star net, 6 meters, FM, single sideband. They're all on the calendar. So if you can go in the calendar, you'll see, if you go to the RARC website and then you look for the calendar, look across the calendar, and you'll see the availability of those times and frequencies. I think they're holding up well, and there's folks are checking in, and I would encourage all of you to check in and keep the net control. Give the net
Even
control.
if you don't talk to them, just check in, listen, and we've got people, Ronnie comes in from Florida. We got the guys that are on 40 meters in the morning, coming in from Illinois, Ohio, New Jersey. I mean, people just stop in and say hi.
Good. So, group activities. Anything going on with the builder group? It's been quiet right now. Any POTA plans? Anything come up POTA wise? Or the Maker group? I checked the websites, but looking at local club activities, the Central Virginia Contest Club and the Richmond area telecommunications group and Dominion DX group. I didn't see anything, any announcements, anything going on there. I did see the 6 meter single sideband that they mentioned their tailgate fest is coming up, so that's coming up.
Do you have a date?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll publish it on the website. I have the information. I just did not do it yet.
I have it.
Oh, you have it? Okay.
So it'll be held on April 12th. And they picked both dates, the spring date and the fall date. So it'll be April 12th and September 13th, 2025, from 8 to noon. And it's going to be the rear fenced parking area of the Hatcher Memorial Baptist Church.
Wow. I didn't get that.
What's
Something Memorial Baptist Church.
Yeah, the Hatcher Memorial Baptist Church. That's on Clark Street between Hermitage and Wilson. This is in Lakeside. It's directly behind the church building. There's no admission fee, no admission or attendance fee. Any old business? Any new business?
Daryl,
Yeah.
it isn't necessarily new business, but On Friday nights, there's a relatively new 6-meter sideband net. I think they call themselves the Maryland, Virginia 6-meter sideband and on 50.130 at beginning of around 19:30 hours in the evening.
At the Virginia, Maryland,
I think they call themselves Maryland and Virginia.
Maryland, Virginia.
Last week, Debt Control was on vacation. He wasn't going to be back until the night. Yeah, I think he had almost 20 check-ins.
Sure, it's pretty good turnout. It's good. Thanks for bringing that up. Appreciate that. Yes.
If there's anybody who's likes to be on DM1, there are three matches a week, which are pretty good. On Wednesday at 8 o'clock, same as kind of it's called Southwest Virginia event, but basically it's the whole Virginia. And that's kind of a good deal. And then Friday night, the night owls, and it's 10 o'clock. You're gonna stay up that late. And that's on the, but they're both on the Southwest Virginia platform.
Southwest Virginia.
It's a bunch of good old boys, they're fun.
Okay. Thank you, Gene. Any other announcements? Anybody working in new countries or special event stations or any upgrades, recent upgrades? Any show and tell?
Yes, on that respect.
You have something for us, Alex?
As a matter of fact, yes. Recently, when I was going to various food shops in this sector, I managed to pick up an ANPRC6.
Can you come up and
Yes.
talk to us up here?
Yes.
Because the microphone, this Al is our microphone. And so, and it's also video in there, so it'll bring it up on Zoom, so you're not standing up front here.
Well, as I was saying, in recent months, I was going to various antique shops just to see what they had, and on the Buckingham Antiques Mall over at your old Buckingham, I managed to pick up a 1947 era at ANPRC 6-meter transceiver. It's all vacuum tubes, at pristine condition internally and externally needs a new coat of paint, and that's about it. Batteries by Burgess, problem is they don't make it anymore, and it didn't have the parts I needed to repair that, but I managed to find a schematic on it, on that from the Army, that was issued by the Army to tell me how to build the battery pack. Unfortunately, it takes 10 9-volts, 3 AA's, and C. 3 voltages, it's all vacuum tubes. It's micro sub-miniature pencil tubes, mostly either by Raytheon or RCA. Actually, there's 2 in here, there's by Sylvania, so multi-company. Odd thing is, this particular model was designed by the United States for the Korean War era, but it was actually shipped to the Israeli Defense Force back at the 47 war. So all of the signage on the outside is written in Hebrew. But I've done some tests on the circuits, and they do work. Problem is I don't have any oscillator. But the other problem is I don't have any oscillator crystals. It's tunable, but without the oscillator crystals, I'm stuck. So I can build the antenna, but I don't have the equipment necessary to make precision crystals out of anything, actually. But it's an interesting project, and if anyone might have the rest of the set, the crystals, or about 10 9-volt battery pigtails, let me know. I also have another vacuum tube operated piece of Army radio equipment over there that's actually 2 parts of a 4-part weather radio sound balloon, the transmitter itself, and the AMT1 modulator. I don't have the other 2 parts, which are the battery pack, which is again a weird bit by Burgess, and the hygrometer thermometer extension. But other than that, that does work too. If anyone would be interested in seeing the innards of it later at a break, I'll have it open and you can examine it. It's a very simple pulse code modulation FM transmitter. That's really all I have at the moment, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other show and tell? That's about it for our business portion of the meeting. We can take a break for 10 minutes. And the program is going to be about programs. Actually, the program will be a dialogue, a little discussion with you about the programs that you'd like to see. And so we'll pull that up. But let's do I have a motion to dismiss the business? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Right. All right. So we want to have a little dialogue about ideas, sharing ideas about programs. And the programs, the way we generate programs now is, Rick, myself, Wynn, Bruce, it's kind of collaboration. We'll find a program, we'll see a program that we think might be interesting, and we schedule something in, whether it's the 220 repeaters in Virginia last month, or the geophron. Several of us have a geophron. We thought that was very nice, that clock, and so we had the owner of geophron come in and do it via the program for us via Zoom. Other programs, like what we'll have coming up in March, something that I experienced being in a leadership role at the club. I'll be one of the first contacts for somebody in the area, the family of a Silent Key, and they have a amateur radio estate that they would like to dispose of. Or just find somebody that would be interested in having it, purchasing and or donate to. And so we'll share some experiences with that. And I brought in Alan Swinger, and you may have known it, and you may have wondered, I never explained this to everybody, but Alan Swinger lives in Charlottesville, and he is able to come in and just take the estate and then go through it item by item and sell it off with a family of the Silent Key. And we couldn't do that. We can help facilitate a sale of a smaller, of a rig, or rig and a couple of HTs and a power supply. We can help make contacts and make that sale. But if it's a big collection, if it's got to move quickly because the spouse may not be able to live in the house by themselves, you can come and take
All right,
it.
do you want me to turn it off?
And
I wanted
so-
to hear it. I wanted to see it, but that's okay. I didn't know it was boring.
So what so that's really the gist of how we come up with these programs. What we've come across, what we think might be interesting, but in our efforts to try to have programs targeted towards new hams and support, those just getting their license, we want to think about some of those basic programs that might be very beneficial for somebody that had just gotten their license. And to go back to, for some of us that have had our license for a few decades, we kind of overlooked that, but, we need to think about that and come back and visit that. So, and we need people that want to do those presentations too. You don't want to listen to me all night, every month. It'd be nice to have somebody else do the presentation. So I just, grabbed some themes or topics. The RTL SDR, operating simplex, using chirp. Does everybody know what chirp is? Yeah. FM satellite operating. I'm not sure if anybody's operating on the FM amateur satellites in this club, or
I can do, but I'd rather use linear satellite.
okay.
I haven't connected my array yet, but I plan to be able to do that in the near future. Right.
Getting started with JS8 call. Has anybody been playing around with JS8 call?
Hey, Darren.
Yeah.
One thing that I ordered, I saw the ARL was advertising an antenna manual for people who had compromised antenna locations where they had to put indoor antennas. And I was kind of curious to see what that book has in it. And I'll share that with the club because it might have some really helpful information in it. I don't know if anybody else ordered what I ordered.
That brings up a good point that Wynn shared with us, is that a lot of the new hams have trouble just getting the antenna up, what antenna, and how to get the feed line in the house, for example. And just send pictures that you're putting up an antenna or repairing your antenna. You know, and the pictures of the good, bad, and ugly, because if it's a compromised antenna but you're having fun with it, it's working for you, you'll share that. It's very interesting. So we would be interested, I would be interested in receiving the photographs or any information about that. We gather them up and have one program dedicated to a variety of antenna installations, wire installations, simple installations, something that may not or should not work, but is working. And so that we're going to share that with everybody and help, help out.
We'll see what's in that book. I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, it'd be good to look at.
I almost wonder about a program about this sounds kind of silly, but basically like dumbing down ham and making it less scary than it looks. I know when I first started, me, I'm such an overthinker. And I did a lot less because it looked so intimidating. And then when I started understanding what it all meant, it's just not nearly as scary as people, and even books make it look a lot more intimidating than it really is. Yeah. And so I don't know if that would help. Some of the math is a lot less intimidating than it really looks too.
That mirrors what Bruce was telling us about the women that were HTs. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
When they get the radio in their hands and they start using it, they find out.
To make it fun, what they expressed to us was they had these theory classes, and they got their licenses, but there was no connection with the material on radio. Talk to somebody. What's required to do it? What do the buttons do? They just don't know.
What I can do, Daryl, if we want to, is gather the stuff from them, once we figure out what works. And about, I don't know what your schedule is, but in May, I could give a presentation on what is it the new hams want to know. Because all of us can then be prepared to be mentors to them.
Right.
If that suits, I can do that.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I will have all the stuff. But what I don't know, maybe the rest of you will know what it is the other group of new hams, so to speak, are the people who just got their general licenses. Now I got all the HF stuff to deal with. And so if any of you know something about what it is the new HF folks need to know, you got to put that together as well. If we all had that with us someplace, we could then deal with new people as we ran into them so much.
Yeah, what do new hams need? That would be a nice program. Kind of make what kind of support.
Darryl, I think it would be helpful for the new hams and maybe others that aren't active on HF to actually set up a station for a club meeting and actually make contact. A lot of people have been on 2 meter, 440, whatever, and they've never made, you can make a bunch of FT8 contacts, but they've never called CQ on HF and made a contact. And we can set up a station, a table up here with a working radio and actually see contacts being made and have people sit down at the table and make them.
Yeah, 40 meters would work for them this time.
Work real well. And we can put up an antenna that's a 20 meter decimal right back there.
20 is available. 40 if we use the remote station, set up a PC with a remote station. And help somebody get find a guinea pig, somebody that wanted to brave in front of an audience, getting on the air, calling CQ and see how it goes.
Well, I mean, some people do a lot of activity and you never know what you're gonna run into. It might be quiet as it could be, or it could have a pile of something.
Yeah, get on the air program.
Yeah, yeah.
Darryl?
Yes, sir.
One other thing, this is a time issue, but, the Virginia QSO party. Last year, they had changed a bunch of the rules, and they did a presentation via Zoom that was excellent to help explain those rules and whatnot to the Williamsburg Club. And, I talked to them afterwards, said, would you be willing next year, maybe come to our club? And they said, yeah, we'd be very willing, even physically come. The one guy said, you know, he has, relatives that live in Virginia, in Richmond, and he would be very willing to come down and, come to a club meeting and do a presentation. Obviously, close to Virginia QSO, and, give us some information about
We
it.
could change times a little bit to work around it.
Yeah.
Well, if you live in an independent city, as I do, you call CQ, you'll get a pilot. Because apparently you get extra points for independent city. So you live in Edithburg, Hopewell, Richmond, that sort of thing, you get on there and call CQ, you will be inundated with CQ. I did it last year for the first time. And it was wild.
I had about 30 times I had to respond.
Yeah, I mean, so it's something worth doing. Independent cities are particularly valuable, so.
I've just been completely out of left field, but picking up on Tom's point. When we're looking for to run a special event,
Yeah.
allow people, you know, have an introduction, you may have, run a special event, so they go back as an operator,
Yeah.
funding and also, managing it. I don't know if that would work or that would.
I think it could work because, there's a HF station sitting in the tractor museum. And they're interested in having an antenna put up down there. And Kathleen is interested in operating a station in the tractor museum. So that could be your special event station.
Yeah,
You know, special events, one of the things, the reason I even know of this club was back in that time frame. Chris Ramsey Radio Club went to the Chesterfield County Survivor Day, which was down at the headquarters, down at Chester. And, they had a cable set up, and as you exited, my arm got suddenly sore from the leg. You're retired now, you need a hobby.
oh,
And so she could go over there and pick up their literature. And so I did that as I was rubbing my arm. And that's how I knew of the club. And I knew of, found out that the Morse code test was no longer required. And I said, I can do this. No foreign language necessary.
So what made me think of the event was Purdue University waiting on, had an event on the.
Okay.
And, you know, they just want people to go over that,
Yeah.
they would go there.
I mean, I guess I'm now pseudo volunteering Lauren, but N1MM is like, for contesting, there's a lot of free software that makes it really fun, and N1MM is, it's just super easy to just bang out contacts for contesting, and she's really good at it, and a lot of us who are interested in contesting are just have a lot of fun with it. So there's nothing to be afraid of. I know that people make a big deal out of that. But I know she's gotten me really into it, and it is really fun.
Okay. So I've got the Virginia QSO party, a new rules explanation, and that would be a program. Special events, a program about building up of special events and doing the special event for the club. And then an N1MM program, introduction. Good. Then, other ideas?
I just have one question.
Yeah.
On the program for the new hand, you know, just looking around the room, most of us aren't new hams. So how do we advertise it to new hams to get them to come to the club, to see the program?
We have an expert sitting with us. Owen, how do we get new hams to come? Owen wants to charge.
Well, there are people in the school that are just getting licensed. There are people who join the club. I think that's a focused group of people.
Yeah.
People who have just joined the club, they're new hams, or maybe they're not hams, but the people who have just gotten licensed, that's an obvious source of new hams.
And I think
And a lot of them got the license by taking car classes, so that kind of gets around that. Yeah.
Yeah. I fear that we've lost some. That's why this is all, we're getting focused more and more on mentoring, is that we've had so many come through the classes, but they didn't stay with this club. I don't know if they're with.
Or they don't even get on the air, that's the
They don't get
other
on.
thing.
Right, they don't get on the air, so they're out there, the new hams are out there, but I think, we haven't focused. We got them through the schools, they got the license, and then, but they didn't, we didn't get them on the air, we didn't give them enough support to continue that.
I think at the end, when they pass the test and get their ticket, that's when we should capture.
Right. And that's the whole idea that we want to try and do in May, is to go out to there and get them going again.
One other thing, I was talking some with Bill and Judy. I was looking at, doing fox hunts. And an actual fox is like less than $150. I don't even remember the exact price. But in talking to Bill and Judy, which are rats people, rats has a fox, which is the same fox that I was thinking that we could buy. Bill said that although it right now has rats call sign in it, they could easily reprogram it to have ours, and they would be willing to loan it to us if we didn't want to buy the hardware and do a fox hunt. I would suggest that we wait at least 2 months, to try to get out of the cold weather and get towards summer, but see if we can on a fox hunt. I've never done one. I don't know if anybody in the club has done one. But I think it'd be a fun thing to do. I even went through the bother of finding out what does the fox sound like. And it's basically a set of tones that are played repeatedly with Morse code of the call sign that's associated with it and a battery status. For the people who are running it more than anybody else, but less you know, that type of stuff.
Well, the key to a club meeting on that one then would be buying some cheap tape measures and helping people build the Yagis to chase the fox. We could do that in a club meeting prior to the fox hunt.
Yeah, then we have to require a meeting to get ourselves prepared to do the fox hunting.
Yeah, and the
Get a little
build
training,
thing.
get a little training, and fox hunting training.
And my whole thing was, what does the fox even really look like? You know, I mean, is it the size of a laptop? Is it the size of an owl? It's closer to the black box in the power cord. It's
Yes,
basically pretty much that size.
Well,
Without the
fox can be
wires.
anything.
Well,
I was.
it needs to be a transmitter that could transmit out.
I did a fox hunt, this probably 15 years ago,
Oh.
where it was some guy with an HT somewhere.
So-
Every 5 minutes, he would throw out his call sign for just a few seconds, and so we had to. All right. Yeah,
Be ready.
so that's, yeah, you're not limited to that.
To that.
You could just have somebody, but yeah, he was a long ways away from, yeah. He was somewhere in Richmond, but just barely.
But anyway, a fun idea. At least.
Yeah.
And that may, if it gets advertised, if that, we might even end up having non-members, you know, sort of joining the hunt and maybe become a member. Who knows?
Yeah. You mentioned rats. Rats does a lot of work with the marathon.
Yep.
And with the bike rides,
and Special Olympics.
Special Olympics. And there have been very good every year inviting us to come join them. we have some RACs members, I'm sure they're involved, but I don't know if others are going out, and I could imagine, it's true for myself, that, I haven't participated, I'm not really sure what it's all about, and I don't want to jump in and really make a mess of things, and,
Well, they're doing a good job, and a lot of RARC members are part of, join those things. Marathon had a lot of RARC members. I do the Special Olympics that had a lot of RARC members. So RATS kind of leads it, but they get cooperation from Powhatan and Richmond. And Hanover County now has a new club that started 2 nights ago, I guess. The Hanover, Virginia Amateur Radio Club. So they have a new club. But we all seem to be pretty cooperative. There don't seem a lot of competition.
so my point was, should I invite somebody from RACs to do a program to help us understand what we should be prepared for if we wanted to go out and join them at one of the bike rides or marathons or something, how do the mechanics work?
The guy who does that recently is Jim Rubin. He's a member of this club.
Okay.
And the marathon is also just legitimately fun. Like, aside from like, it's a good volunteer service, it's very easy operating. And I know Bruce and I have said often, it's just a lot of legitimate fun. So that's another part of
So
that.
is Special Olympics.
Yeah,
Special Olympics is amazing. You see these people who just barely get around and you just watch the cheer when they are able to do something that we think is easy and it's almost impossible for them, so.
Is the gentleman, at RACs that leads that, is Jim
For
Rubin.
WPKR.
PKR, yeah. But he's a member of this club. He doesn't come to a lot of meetings, but he kind of took over when they first got amateur radio involved in the originally 10K. They approached me and Jim had some experience doing it, so he's kind of taken over the road racing aspect of it.
Okay. So perhaps, I could reach out to Jim and ask Jim if he can think about
Well,
it.
he will come before these events and ask people.
But it'd be good to have a presentation of what all these events are, so we know what they are.
Right, well, what's really expected of the mechanics, what frequencies are you on and what is really expected of you? We do hear about it and we're invited the month before. But this would be, it's coming next year, it's coming up and, in a few months, but this is what we've been looking for. This is what you could expect and, so,
And I think, again, to make it less intimidating, especially because like, at least the marathon was on the repeaters. It's a great opportunity for new hands, and it always seems more intimidating than it really is.
right.
And in the marathon, they'll match up someone who's not experienced with someone who is. So there are 2 of you at the spot usually, so.
Okay. Any other ideas?
I've heard people talking about using hotspots, and that's one thing that I don't have any experience with. I know that Gene Damon's an expert in that.
He's got his hand in the air.
I can break it just as fast as everybody else.
But I have D-Star and I have DMR, and I kind of, I guess I could go on my D-Star radio and I could go to what's it called, a reflector. But I don't hear much on that, but Gene and other people tell me that there's a lot of stuff that you can get through the hotspot that you don't have to fiddle with it as much. But they have different capabilities. Some require a radio, one mode or the other, DMR, what's it called, CD or FM or D-Star to talk to the device. But and there's one that's called Pi-Star. I think it's relatively inexpensive. There's one that's profiled with QST called the Sharp RF Open Spot 4 Pro that has all kinds of modes, including cross mode capability. Doesn't require a computer, but it kind of sounds neat. But that's something that I'm not sure I want to put my foot in yet.
Yeah.
But I think that would be something that'd be easy to demonstrate. And I think Gene are also.
Well, I haven't had a mistake ever built all 3 of them.
Yes. And John,
I totally know that, but I'm just gonna ask the general question, are we so far beyond doing things like, Raspberry Pi and tools, or do you use with your radio? Are we beyond that, or is that something we should do?
we've done it before, we could do it again.
Yeah, we
Now,
did, right?
especially if you're talking about new hands, Habs has done it traditionally. Like, you've never done FT8 or anything, I mean, you wanna know, what do I need? So any.
I'm thinking about a lot of programs. I mean, are we also sophisticated now that you don't need to talk about Raspberry Pi and tools that come with that?
But I think Harmon would say that most of the people who check into the net come in through a hotspot as opposed to.
They do, yeah, I would say, we have 12 check-ins, 10 of them come through.
I'm still the RF holdout, but yeah. Since I got that expensive radio. But I would be interested in hearing and talk about that, and that's something that could be demonstrated. But I think the cross mode capability, I don't want to buy a system fusion, but if you could do a cross mode, that would be cool.
Well, I would never volunteer for anything, but.
I volunteered you for.
Yeah, you did.
British, which John?
But actually,
Pittsburgh, John Pittsburgh too.
Probably wouldn't be a very long one, but it might be worth doing.
Yeah.
You can demonstrate it.
Yeah, you can demonstrate it and show us what it can do, show the capability.
Okay, at some point,
You get John Pitchford to help.
huh?
John Pitchford.
Yeah.
He's good.
Well, I think just gotta put an accent.
Yeah, he talks funny.
No, he asked that question about you speaking.
That's right, he would say he doesn't.
It won't be short. That's
Talking on logging software and kind of use it would be helpful to do kind of help us.
I can certainly do one on the Raspberry Pi Linux one called CQR log, which I use, and somebody else will probably do N1MM.
Yeah.
Log for old man.
Bruce?
Bruce,
Oh,
Were you,
okay.
or were you going to do an FT8 on the remote station?
When I do my seminar, I demonstrate. I do FT8 on I don't do FT8 mostly, and when I demonstrated it the first time, I brought it up and I did, at ARC.
Well, that would be the type of thing I meant by saying a Raspberry Pi tools. You know, how do you get a set of tools on a computer to support your radio? So, running FT8, you have to have software in it.
Right.
What do you run that software? You run it on a laptop? What do you do with it? Bruce and I both tend to work with Raspberry Pi devices.
Yeah.
So I found another thing recently that I'm using instead of that. But you do need to have those tools.
so you need to know where those repositories are so that you can download that application.
Right.
And then it's sudo get, sudo make, sudo install.
There's a couple of guys out there who built some very good tools to bring down a complete set of ham radio tools. They're easy to use.
And you need to know how to set up your transceiver, so know where to look. Cause you need to set up your audio, depending on what kind of transceiver you got, you need to set the audio to this, so you have all these setups here.
Daryl talking about logging programs. Logbook of the World, which probably might be a good, I got so frustrated with it, I quit using it.
And QRZ is, not bad, I mean, I'm trying to, I think someplace.
Just do what's going to work.
Yep.
And just hit the button to load.
Yep.
Otherwise, I can't.
And one thing that I think isn't clear about Logbook of the World for some people is that all it's doing is QSLing.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not like you're actually logging.
Well, I have my logging program sent it to,
Right,
and then I get them to send me back the
but
results.
if you've not used it before, I think it's confusing because it's not really a log per se.
Just a history. Really.
Right, exactly.
The matching.
It's matching, right,
Replaces your paper QSL numbers.
right.
But yes, a program on that is worthwhile.
It's interesting, there are 3 requests for logging programs. Probably a couple of them could be tied together with the.
I think you probably want something on logging, period.
Yeah.
Get 2 or 3 people to cover, it's easy.
Because with ADIFs, you could almost like Bruce was saying, the concept of logging, because you can almost just explain the concept of an ADIF and then just go between the logging programs.
That'd be a good way to start, just show an ADIF contact with the words out there, and then show how long ago it does it.
I'm gonna jump in, Dave Stevens.
Yeah, please do.
You could do a presentation from Palatine on Aries and all the things that are set up to be part of Aries that they're doing in case we run into an emergency situation. I think I haven't heard anything about POTA and logging software with that combined. The software for doing POTA type activity. And of course, there's the SOTA. I don't know if we have anybody doing that, but that's a fun activity to do SOTA or a POTA.
Well, Michael Friedman is the guy, so he likes to go up there on the top of the mountain, talk to people and stuff.
Well, and one thing that people don't realize that's nice about POTA is the activators log for you. So it's not like other things where both the hunters and the activators have to log both. So if you actually go onto the POTA website and you think you may have missed a contact, it's already logged for you if you're hunting people. So that's what's also really cool. There's like no work for you.
And again, an activity, Rats just ran a POTA a couple months ago over at Pocahontas. You know, a club could consider when it gets warm doing a POTA activation at one of the parks.
I saw the pictures on their website today. I was looking around. That was looked like a good turnout. I saw some of our members there too. That was always great.
And my last idea, because I'm more of a hardware tinkerer, I don't know if this would fit, but a 30-minute session based on test equipment in addition to the program. Maybe cut the business side short. But I think I heard earlier, what are the hams looking for? A couple people that when I did the general course just wanted to operate, where my preference is to be trying to build stuff, tinker with the stuff versus communication. And bringing in the VNR again, showing how to use that in a 30-minute, and it wouldn't be the main part of the program, but maybe 30 minutes, use some an oscilloscope, some basics in a 30-minute, but it may not, kicking around sort of a tech session, if you will, before the main part of the meeting.
Do it as a program.
Yeah.
Very good. That's good points.
I'm going to sit back and listen. I'm actually out here.
Okay. Thanks for speaking up and sharing your thoughts. Any other ideas? Anything from our list here? Yeah. 27 items, that'll give us the next 2 years.
I don't think we've had a talk on slow scan television recently. John Pitchford does that. Don't you do that too, Will? Slow scan?
Actually, Robert does that.
Oh, Robert did.
I just received, I haven't really done a whole lot.
I haven't sent
anything, but.
Tom Williams used to do that, a lot.
Yeah, well, if John Pitchford does it, we just get him.
He does it,
Yeah, he
sure.
He's got a funny accent.
Yeah, fun.
And you.
It is really fun to receive it though. It is interesting because when you take the extra test, it's really annoying because there's an unnecessary amount of questions on it. But then when you actually do it, it's like, it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it's very relevant.
John has a decoder on his phone, and he has one of those little EL 368 text on radio, you put it in a soft drink cup or something like that, and the sound comes from the radio.
All right, okay.
Through the microphone of his phone, and it gets displaced. Yeah, that's a little take away.
It's 14.230, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, 14.230.
We did that, yeah.
I got the thing I decoded here, so.
Robert Who has the app too.
Well, I found out that they did a deal around Christmas time, from the space station, the ISS.
Yeah.
On the beacon frequency, they downloaded some pictures. Scanned.
They do that periodically.
Yeah, I thought that was neat. I actually did that.
They're all
a
Russian.
couple of-
Bruce, have you ever actually done a presentation about your work with the school? I don't know how much you can share because it's kids, but I do think that
Yeah, we
is.
did something on the.
Yeah, last year.
We did
Okay.
like,
He reviewed that, you know, that was, that program.
don't know if I know the school to do that with. Schools are in lockdown nowadays, so.
Yeah,
Any other thoughts about programs you'd like to see?
Always happy to see anything regarding home brewing.
On road? Me too.
Same.
Problem with brewing at home is the surface mount.
Yeah, that's getting tougher and tougher.
That's what you meant, how many liters?
Yeah, I thought you were about that.
But that could lead into a program if somebody is in the club or in the area doing more surface mount work, to talk about the tools to help do that, the scope, the microscope, cameras that are used to do surface mount, to make it easier, because it's getting harder and harder.
But some of these guys are still working with the makers group on, tube receivers, and I don't think it started transmitters yet. I know that, Armin, I know you built a receiver. Have you built a transmitter yet?
I'm still collecting cards.
I mean, it's simple.
Alex has.
Yeah.
also, for the record, please email Daryl if you have any ideas.
Yeah.
I know I personally don't, like, I know what I like, but I don't really care on the board what I like, because I want to hear what you guys like. So, it makes me sad when we don't get feedback, and I'm not sure we always make that clear on the board that we really would like to hear what you guys would like, and especially Daryl likes that to go to him, and he passes that down to us. So please email him. We really would like to hear your feedback.
Thank you, Will.
Oh.
I'm gonna jump back in again here, Dave.
And that is, don't use acronyms. Or if you're gonna use it, at least the first time, put the real words out. So that first, I went to a website, they started talking about all these things, and every third word was an acronym. I'm sitting there taking 20 minutes. Okay, what's that acronym stand for? What's that one stand for? What's this, you know?
Noted ARR and sometimes too.
You know,
Well, how about the FEMA speak? You wanna use FEMA speak?
yeah, so it's just, especially if there's anything you're gonna share, and maybe I'll put it out on the website, the first time that you use it, tell me what it is, and then use the acronym thereafter. It's just, it's a pet peeve. My second pet peeve, which has no business here, but, you see a map, emergency exits, and you look at the map, and then you look at the building, and you go, the map's upside down or sideways. First, it should be.
Here.
Yeah, it should be, I'm standing here looking at it, and the building should be in that perspective, not, I'm looking over that person.
Yeah.
Or where is north?
Yeah, well, even north, if I'm inside a building, I have no. That doesn't help. Anyway. Sorry.
All right, to review what I have, so far noted is, what do new hams need? A program around what needed by new hams. Getting new hams on the air via our 40 meters on our remote station. But that asks a question for you, Ken. Can we do both at one time? Do we have enough capacity of bandwidth to run, to bring a PC down here, to log in on our station here and still run the Zoom meeting? Or would we run out of bandwidth?
I think we should find.
Or stop dropping?
Yeah, the remote station doesn't require much of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
Okay,
hard.
so that'd be all right. Then, a program around the Virginia QSO party, and those explanation of the rules. A program around special event stations, creating a special event stations, programs around, the NM1 and, logging program, Fox Hunt program. Get in touch with RAC's Jim Rubin about supporting, you know, what we would expect if we were to come out with RACs to support one of the marathons or the bike rides, Special Olympics. Ask him to, you know, we're always invited. RAC has been very good about inviting us. I don't know how many we turned out, but it may be because we are not so informed about what's expected, how it really works, and maybe it's Jim could talk to us about the mechanics of how that works, and that we could understand that better, and so we get more participation from this club and out to those events. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good idea to have something free, because usually the volunteers, then we have some kind of presentation for them to go over things. But to have it ahead of time would be an excellent idea, so people know what to expect.
And they sign up, they feel, you know, some people are holding back because they're. Yeah, right, exactly.
Which brings me to the question, because I missed field day, I was playing with kidney stones.
Winter field day?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Winter fest.
I don't know how many people showed up, we discussed it at the previous meeting in this, December, was it, or
Yeah.
November?
Yeah, we were invited.
But, I don't know how many of y'all showed up and participated, but like, you know, winter and summer field day, everybody's welcome. You know, and,
We appreciate that too.
I called the president because I'm vice, you know, I'm in charge of vice. So, I called him and he said, "You're vice, whatever you say goes." It's like,
Okay.
make your own decisions.
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh, so I'd like to do more together with this club." We've been, sporadically doing things together since the, what was that? The QSO part. So we got together on that. I think Jim Bates was president at the time. And, but yeah, we'd like to tie it together, you know, on events that everybody feels comfortable with, but yeah.
Great, thank you.
To read it, Judy, one of the things, most of you may or may not know, RATS does not have a meeting place. They always do everything via Zoom.
Right.
I hate to say it that way, but a special invitation to RATS to come here and be part and have a program that would be interesting to them. So, but just a special invitation to RATS to say, hey, I forget what day you guys meet. It's after this meeting. Third Friday, yeah.
Friday each month, and you can go to the RATS website and hit the link in there and join us. You don't have to be a member to join. It's from, you know, the comfort of your home, fuzzy slippers, welcome, no flannel jammies, because like.
Favorite
Adult beverage.
Yeah.
But yeah, so everybody's welcome. So if you ever want to tune in, because, in fact, Lauren will be, right. So next week, Lauren's gonna be doing logbooks of the world. Because that's something so hard to navigate. So she's gonna like make it okay for stupid people like myself.
So people who wanted to learn a little bit about logbooks of the world.
Yeah.
The RATS meeting next weekend.
Yeah.
Next week.
Actually,
7:30.
7:30.
Third Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just going through the website and,
It's under construction, by the way, so you might have to.
yeah, because we're in the midst of, streamlining,
Okay.
so, yeah,
Thank you, Teresa.
that.
Yeah.
no problem, anytime.
Hotspots, to continue on with what I've got here, hotspot, to set that up for D-Star, DMR, in those modes. Logging by Linux, Raspberry Pi, tools for amateur radio. Logbook of the world, Aries and Power 10, photo presentation, soda. Test equipment. Take a piece of test equipment and go through it, an overview. Slow scan, TV, and homebrewing. Did I leave anything off?
No, that ought to be enough programs for a while.
I just have to find the people to lead it. But I got a program, ideas of you, like, I appreciate that, that's very helpful, and we put on the program with, the membership, it's not, not for me. So,
I'm going to jump back in. I think the RATS folks, aren't they doing fast scan TV out there? I think Judy and Bill are back there, but I don't know if it's
Judy with us.
right. Bill and Judy from RATS are there.
Not unless it's 4
The one you go through.
kind of protecting Barney, and he got in a fight, I think.
So talk about fast
I
scan.
believe that was it.
Well, that would be.
David Elkins?
David
Yeah,
Elkins.
I think he said something about, in March.
So, well, we'll get in touch with them and see, and, what we have in the website at RATS is, a schedule that tells you what upcoming things are, so as soon as we get a book, they'll go on to schedule, so, you would keep checking that.
Okay. So that would be a program. Is there somebody doing fast scan TV at RATS, or are you planning a program?
David Elkins initially said he may be able to do it for March.
Okay, all right, David Elkins may do it for March for RATS. Okay,
And I'll see if I can get confirmation.
okay, good.
The other thing to jump in is becoming a VE. People are not aware of that. And the other piece too, I just got involved with DMR. And granted, it's the networking in the clubs, but I would not have known about the code plugs to set up a DMR radio. So it's having, resources to know where to go for that kind of information. Otherwise, you're struggling to set up a code plug, which is interesting.
Or you find another hand that's got it set up in his radio and you can clone his radio.
Steve Crow was helpful doing that.
Well, the guy who's teaching the class, DMR, does the code book, so, that's where you, and remember, we're gonna have a class of D-Star, class of code plugs seminar. We got one on the road station, we got one on contacting and that sort of, so got these seminars to go through. If you want to get more in depth.
We find out the information about the seminars on the RARC website, and they're coming up in April.
Yep, and there's no brochures in Japan.
And we got brochures here. Be sure you take plenty of brochures and hand them out, because the calendar is in there for the classes. Not only the amateur radio classes, but the other seminars.
And also the last thing that few of us are trying is possibly setting up classes that we could meet to do learn CW or improve our CW. And I'd be willing to try to coordinate that. I mean, we're using the V band through the internet, but I think in person getting together would give camaraderie and teach Morse code. V band does work, but it's a little kludgy with the delay. So anyway, I'll throw my hat in there to say I'd help teach a CW class if there's interest, and put that out to the different clubs.
So this club has been, has a B band, CW net. It's paused right at the moment. It was on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. And I don't, and it may start up again when vacation, so folks are traveling.
Has started up. A little bit, but it's been hit or miss. It's not, it hasn't been. What it said, 8:30.
It's 8:30 now? Okay,
Yeah, I always had been.
okay, 8:30. That's right.
I do think, and it will be good for for us to get some feedback from Bruce from New Hams, like, if you are a New Ham, I'm not necessarily sure you know like what DMR means. So I think that's something that, like, if you go on our website and just see like D-Star or DMR, you may not necessarily know what that means. So that may be another thing that like freaks people out. I'm not sure.
We're doing that as part of the
Okay,
veteran videos.
yeah.
All right, that's all I have for this evening. Thank you very much. Thank you for your input.
Thank you.
Hopefully we put together some nice programs now for this year.
Dave, on iPhone, could you?
Yeah, I'm here.
Call sign for you into the chat, please?
Say again, I didn't hear what you said.
Need you to. Dave, I need you to send a message into the chat with your call sign. Otherwise, I have to log you as Dave on iPhone.
Well, you know me, WB4DES, WB4DES.
Yeah, just put it into the chat. My memory will not last until I get home. Sorry about that.
I can appreciate that. All right, let me go find the chat here. Got it.